Progress has a price, usually. Progress is not a smooth process of going step by step. That is really just little improvements. But basically, everything remains the same if you do it by little by little. That was the idea through the Middle Ages, through the modern age also, that everything goes by just step by step. And all major changes were not believed to be possible. Now we know that all fundamental change is across bifurcation points. That means disturbances, that means breaking points, break points, disruptions, sometimes a window of chaos where everything seems to be topsy-turvy, everything seems to be disorganized. But things move into a new state, into a new condition across such windows. And they move, I can talk about that later, they'll move forward because there is something in us which is a driver toward oneness, toward harmony, toward the feelings of love and belonging. But for just now, to remark on this again, we are moving through a window of time, a chaos window, a disruption window, which is at the same time an opening to a new world, to a new situation. This is an opportunity, but we must remember what is coming after this will be new, but we don't know whether it will be better. If we try to redo the old system, all of which is unsustainabilities, inequalities, all of its problems and crises and breakdown points, then we will have missed an opportunity. We are now at the dawn of a new era, and it is up to us whether we make that era a better world or a world that is no longer sustainable. The old world was not sustainable. Now we can move to something else. All my efforts these days, for the past at least year, even before the pandemic, oneness means when many act as one. We can be many and we can be diverse. Doesn't mean we act the same thing. We don't do the same thing. We act as one means that we go with each other. We complement each other. We cooperate. And together we create something which is one. Think of the human body. Any living body for that matter, but human body is perhaps the most complex organism on this earth. It is made up of trillions of cells and many different kinds of cells. At least we know over 170 entirely different kinds of cells, bone cells and heart cells and lung cells and skin cells, and all the rest. In the embryo, these cells are developed, are evolving in the embryo from one common ground, the fertilized ovum. And then all these different cells join together to create one organism. And for the rest of the world, as regards the outside world, the newly born organism is one system. Because you relate in one way to it, it responds in one way, you see. It's not a chaotic system. It's a highly organized system. And we can say that system is coherent. It acts like one, even though it is many. That's what we have got to learn when it comes to the next level, which is made up of living organisms as integrated oneness systems, they work together to create the next level of systems. The next level, there are many subsidiary levels, of course, coming next. There are the ecologies, there are the societies, there are tribes, there are families. All of these things are bringing together living organisms, each of which is one, each of which is unique in its own way, but together they create a larger whole, and that larger whole is one. But that's a sociological term to identify a new culture growing up on the periphery of the main culture, you know. Culture creatives are really who are rethinking their role, trying to live sustainably, trying to create oneness and harmony. So this is something already for the past 10 years or so have been researched, have been done on what are the characteristics of people who could be called being cultural creatives. You see. The point is that there is a new culture about to be born. It's showing up in initiatives. Your initiative already is a new culture initiative. It's operating with a new mindset. And there are others like this. Not all are well organized, not all are funded, not all are powerful enough to really make it. But these are all little changes, little butterflies flapping their wings and try to create a storm, you see. Now, these butterflies have a better chance today than they did before, because the established power centers are no longer fully in charge. They are now open. They have to be open to change. They themselves ask themselves, how do we go ahead? Not all, but most of the business branches today have been damaged, have been hurt very much by the crisis, by the global crisis. They ask themselves, how do we survive? But not only how do we survive, but how do we reach a new level where we can work sustainably, where we can be really of help. This awakening is unique, and the media who can articulate this awakening, the ideals, the objectives, has this critical role of becoming the biggest butterfly that can flap its wings and eventually create the storm that changes the world. It's not art of the kind where you go to a museum and you sit outside and you look at things. By art, I mean living art. Something that you live, you feel. And what is common to all art? I think what is common to this is the search of this higher fulfillment, the higher integration of the elements. It's great music, and as you said, in my young days, I was a concert pianist. I made my living giving concerts. And the key element was always that sensation, not just being so virtuose, technically perfect, that people say, how can he do so many things with his finger? That's not it. What really counts is the sensation that you can communicate, so that people can feel. And they can only feel it when the artist himself or herself feels it. You communicate something that you have. You don't make people feel something. You transfer the feeling that you have. And the feeling that comes through this tremendous unity, tremendous higher coherence that is always in every great piece of art, whether it's music or dance or singing or whatever, or the art form, art medium. There's always the search for finding something that makes sense, that creates a whole that's bigger than the sum of its parts. See? That was my experience already as a child. I started playing the piano and started playing concerts in public from the age of 9. When you are really into the music, my mother used to say, who was my first piano teacher, used to say, live the music, go, not just play it, live it, you see. And that remained with me, you see. You don't stand outside of it. You don't make something. You experience something.
You're with it.
And that is the role of art, making you experience the oneness, so that then we will seek the oneness ourselves. Because it's an incredible, beautiful experience to feel that everything makes sense, that everything works together. If we can share that feeling, then we will start making actions, then we start behaving that realizes this higher feeling. We have to find in the world, we have to find it in society, we have to find it in the economy, we find it in politics, in business, and also in science. You know, we search for this, we look for this. This is what I'm dedicating my life to, the search for a new paradigm of oneness, you know, an evolutionary paradigm. I think if you can spread that, people will start experiencing it, and then they'll change the way they behave. Then we no longer will be so selfish, self-centered, but will be more operating as a part of a society, as a part of a larger whole. We have to discover it in ourselves and then act accordingly. Then we can create a better world. I think the role of Japan is crucial. It's decisive. I think Eastern cultures in general are oriented toward harmony, towards seeking, you know, being in tune with others and together doing things. This is Confucius already, you know. This is the Tao. This is this Buddha. This is in the Eastern cultures. But Japan has, even within the Eastern cultures, a unique role, because Japan is advanced in technological and in financial terms, economic terms, in such a way that it has very great possibilities, has the means, has the know-how and the power to implement its vision. And something else which is so important about the Japanese culture is that it has discipline. It has incredible respect for life, respect for each other. I'm always struck when I come to Japan, the politeness. How when I travel on a plane or in a bullet train or in a bus anywhere, if somebody comes in and wants to look at the tickets or wants to sell something, they come in and they greet everybody and they bow to the everybody. And then they can start talking and coming in. This innate respect to people is entirely missing in the Western civilization. Now, this is your historic task, to create a new renaissance, a new dawn, which will bring the Japanese idea of oneness, of coherence, onto the global level, because I think that is needed.